I'm more dialed in at Penn State than a lot of places. I'm not saying it's the place I'm most dialed into. Just over the years and traveling and doing games, like Reese Levy and I did the half ice puck shot, and I've just gotten to know a lot of people there. And there's been a kind of an undercurrent, honestly, dating back 8 years ago with James Franklin. And people there saw what we were seeing and what I got to witness firsthand, and some of the things that I touched on Saturday night. And even last week I was talking about it prior to the Northwestern loss. So this has been building here at Penn State. It's been building on this show. I've been trying to get out ahead with my experiences, what I know, my sources there at Penn State. And it's been interesting seeing the number of folks there that are in the know and have some influence that have been reaching out. There's been a lot of reports, right, Steve?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of reports about what the number is, how much money is the buyout. We talk about here. I mean, I'll just give you some of the numbers based off of my sources, right? $56 million for Franklin, another $14 to $18 million to clean out the staff and what they're owed. I believe it's around $10 million just for the coordinators, right? Andy Kotolinki and Jim Knowles, who just came in. Knowles is like $6 million. Andy's like around 4, whatever those numbers are. So that right there is a 14 to 18 million, 35 million for a new head coach and buyout and new staff and branding. Those are just the numbers I'm getting. Okay. So you're talking about $105 million decision that was made. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Does that change your opinion at all? Are you going to get into that? Does that make you think that maybe they should have waited?
Absolutely not.
I agree.
The amount of money that football programs are bringing in. And I understand, I'm not just saying, well, it's 105 million. You just go figure it out. I understand the impact of that. I truly do. And that 105 million now, it means it can't be dispersed to other sports. It can't be dispersed towards building, towards renovations, towards new facility, or if it is, with that 100, then you got to raise more money. Like, this is a huge financial drain, but it's also one of the blue blood programs in college football. So that's kind of the dollars and cents. Listen, this is not my avenue. This is not, I tried desperately to stay in my lane, and I've learned from past mistakes. I've learned from my own. I've learned from watching others in similar analyst roles when they start to play Pete Thamel or Adam Schefter and different roles like that. It's not wise. I've learned, with age comes wisdom. I've learned to kind of stay in my lane. But when I get information, and our audience has a thirst, as we're seeing with our numbers, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, like, people are generally like extremely interested in this subject for obvious reasons. This is Penn State. This is one of the programs in college football historically, currently. So when I get information, I just like to share. And I think the most important takeaway is this is going to be a process. There are a lot of people involved, but only a couple like decision makers in all of this. But there are influential people who have a voice and who are trying with their agenda positively, I'm sure some negatively, to influence the next big decision, which is the head coaching job. And the names I'm hearing, and this isn't breaking news. I told you on Saturday night, I needed to see Cignetti come in with Indiana and win a game like that. Not just beating the number 3 team in the country, but doing it at their place, the way they did it. To say, okay, like, that was kind of the last hurdle of Cignetti. The Cignetti effect is real. And it's not just at smaller schools. It's not at James Madison. It's not taking a program that for 30 years, Steve, 30 years, averaged 4.1 wins, and to be 17-2 as the coach. But the big games, and it wasn't like it took 2 or 3 years. Look at James Franklin. He's won Cignetti's had more top 10 wins now than Franklin did in like a decade.
Yeah.
In 19
There's no getting
games.
around that. There's just no getting around that.
So I said right away, and by the way, I also have information on that side. And Cignetti wants to build that thing in Indiana, and it would take a lot to get him away from that place. And Indiana has money, even though it's known as a basketball school. Like, they're going to make sure that they keep their guy and do everything they can. And so maybe it's a non-starter. But I'm also told by people that I trust, if there's one place, everyone says Cignetti, Google the wins, Google him, Google me, right? The whole, everyone knows that.
Quote.
Also Google his bio, his background, where he's from. That kind of Western PA, like that. I'm told that if he were to be lured somewhere, if there was some place that maybe he couldn't say no to, even though he wants desperately to build IU into one of the elites, and he's on that track. And we're going to get to Indiana really shortly with our 10 tape truths. And I'm fired. We have some great stuff today. We're in the film room, both Steve and I. This may be his weak spot, his kind of that sweet treat that everyone's falls victim to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is very much something to keep an eye on. Matt Rhule is the other name. Those are, to me, are the top two.
Ooh, just gonna drop Matt Rhule in there. I like it.
Well, Matt Rhule's like family with the Penn State family. Like, that's his.
Yeah.
So you've got two guys with like roots.
Right.
Roots like I have in Swampscott, Mass, where I'm on the board to figure out who the next head coach is, even though like I'm not like, everyone has their tug, right?
Yeah.
And so for Rhule and for Cignetti, Penn State is a special place that they have a kind of special feelings towards. So but then you look at Matt Rhule and all like the winning, the program building, and all the things that he stands for. And I told you, I buy into Rhule. Like, I really believe in what he's doing, but has he had those big wins against the elite pro? So there's a lot of factors in this. I'll say this, and we'll move on from the subject. More so than typically in a coaching move type of case, we're going to be in the know on all of this. And so over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 2 months, as information's coming in, we're probably going to be getting like the real information.
Right.
Like the real information, like there's Adidas reports, right? Well, Adidas had enough. Adidas just said, we'll pay it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I just got some serious text from someone who knows about like that. That's kind of the dumbest thing I've heard. And I don't want to compromise any sort, but like it doesn't even start till next summer, that deal, and like the whole Nike situation. And so all I'm saying is, fortunately or unfortunately, we're going to get information here. Then we'll kind of help people who are Penn State fans, college football fans. The trickle down effect is going to be real. What happens now is this coach plucked from a big time school. Maybe they go through their A list and they can't get a candidate. Now is Penn State going to have to choose from a B list? It's going to be interesting to see, but we're going to have a lot of information over the next several weeks or several months if it takes that long. And we appreciate everyone who's kind of been here for the ride, even though it's not what we major in. It's kind of a minor, but we'll get some information.
Yeah, look, I'm interested on a number of levels. There's I know you don't want to spend a ton of time with this, but I have things to say really quickly. Is what their guy looks like is going to be interesting to me. Is it going to be a Matt Rhule, who's an outstanding coach? I think he's an outstanding coach. Is it going to be a Will Stein? Is it going to be a Brian Haynes, a defense coordinator from Indiana, who we're going to talk about here in a minute? It doesn't necessarily have to be the big name, the proven head coach. It's the guy that they think is going to get them to the next level. Look at what Indiana did with hiring Cignetti from JMU. People were like, oh, that's kind of cute. It was kind of like Dan Campbell when he got hired with the Lions, right? This guy who's talking about biting kneecaps and no one's really believing it. And all of a sudden, Dan Campbell's a perfect fit for that Lions team. So I hope they find the right guy. I hope it's not a looking at a resume and being like, well, who's got the most experience and all that. I think they do it. I also want to say this. I hate the take that Penn State should be happy with 10 wins a year and not winning the big game. And that's, are they going to do better? Find a way to do better. There was time for a change. Like I really believe that deep down. And Penn State, I believe, college football is at its best when Penn State is competing for national championships. And you can't use it as a, oh, well, maybe we're just a team that's going to win 10 games a year and never really compete for a natty. No, this was the right move. This is a program that should compete for national championships.
Yeah, I guess there are two final thoughts on it. One is, like, I don't bash head coaches very often because I have a great deal of respect for most of them. So it's
a tough job.
When I do, Steve, it's not because the people who are texting and calling me in the last 48 hours. I very easily separate church and state when it comes to that. It's personal interactions. It's knowing the truth behind some things. It's 25 years of experience in this business. So I don't want people to think, well, now Todd's saying that he's got people he's talking to and maybe they didn't like him going back 8 years ago. Like, I respect the people I'm talking to, care deeply about a couple of them, like I'm very close with, but I've got people in my ear from all over, like I talk to a lot of people and have a lot of friendships and all, like, but at the end of the day, it's my name that clips are out there on social media and our show. Like, I'm not going to say something unless I have a personal experience or I've done the work on tape or so I'm separating all of those things. The second thing is, players did, there are a lot of players that did love James Franklin and still love James Franklin. I'm not saying he's been horrible and like this dictator and like now all of a sudden all these people are going to come out and be like, oh, listen to this story. Was it Micah Parsons or Abdul Carter? Someone came out. I saw. I should probably double checked. I didn't plan it, but like in full support of him, and like I wouldn't be where I am today. You can look it up on social media. So there are former players who are coming out and supporting him, and I think that's wonderful too. It wasn't all bad. They won a lot of games. They were in the college football playoff last year. He's had some great players that he's helped develop and has been part of that and have gone on to the NFL and had successful careers. But there are things, and it starts with selfish leadership. It starts with not always being trustworthy, that I'm putting the right things. I gave you the Mac Brown quote the other night.
Right.
I'm an old man.
Be consistent.
Todd.
Yep.
I'm an old man, Todd, but it's really simple. Be fair, be consistent, and do the right thing. And do the right thing oftentimes is putting the program, morals, all the things that we know are important ahead of what's the messaging for me.